been living under a rock, and you don't have a PlayStation 5 or don't know or just ignorant to it, inside of the PlayStation 5, as originally seen in the initial teardown video that PlayStation released, is that there is an internal SSD slot expansion, an M.2 slot inside of it that you can use external hard drives, right? Or like an NVM2 or whatever that you would slot into a PC to put inside of your PlayStation 5.
Yep.
Which is awesome because then you don't have to worry about external upgrades or whatever it is. It's internal, right? It's right on the board, so it's going to be faster read and write speeds, because that's one of the big things of the PlayStation 5 is the read and write speed of the internal SSD, which, impacts loading times and things like that. So since launch, Brett, this slot has been locked, right? Which is unfortunate because the PlayStation 5 only has an internal SSD of 825 gigabytes, right? So after the OS and all of that, you only get about 667 gigs of usable space. Now, we both know this is obviously a large problem with modern games. Most of them typically, what I would argue, take up between 30 to 60 plus gigabytes, right? And that is like on the lower end of like some of these games. But you look at something with like Call of Duty Cold War, right? Warzone, all this stuff, which it takes up 133 gigs itself. And arguably that's going to be one of the most popular games and is one of the most popular games during this launch period of these new consoles, including the PlayStation 5. So, I know we're both doing the fucking runaround with our games, right? Like, I have an external storage hard drive for PlayStation 4 games, right? I would love to put them on my fucking internal SSD, whatever it is, but they don't need to be in there. They don't need that to run, right? But you have all of these new next-gen games, these PlayStation 5 games, that need to be put on your internal SSD, right? For them to run and even work.
Exactly.
If you put it on the external hard drive, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
It just won't work.
So there's a solution essentially for being able to store more games if you're playing PS4 games. But if you're playing PS5 games solely on your PlayStation 5, you're limited by the 667 gigabytes of space that they have allocated for you to use.
Right. So, and then you have to do the Benny Hill runaround with what games do you want fucking downloaded? Which ones do you want on your console? Okay, I beat this. Let me delete it. I'm playing this, but I have this other game I want to download and just buy. It's fucking abysmal, dude. It's like ridiculous. The storage issue is carrying over from last generation, and I'm fucking tired of it. Right?
Yeah.
So this internal slot has just been locked. Mark Cerny said, who, for those of you who don't know, is the architect of the PlayStation 5, PlayStation whatever. He said, I think this might have been during his tech thing after the breakdown, or I forget when he said it, but he basically said that, additional storage space would be something that they're exploring, right? Quote unquote, a bit past launch. Well, Brett, we're a bit past launch now. And now there's a report from Bloomberg that is saying that this internal storage slot is going to be unlocked this summer, right? So again, currently it's locked. You can't use it. Nothing works with it. If you put it in, it's not going to work. Okay, people have tried. Trust me, people have tried.
Yeah.
Nothing you put in there is going to work. It's like bricked, right? That internal slot is bricked, essentially, until Sony unlocks it. So this report from Bloomberg is saying, they basically are saying that it's going to be unlocked this summer. They got a quote from a Sony spokesperson that said, quote, as previously announced, we are working to enable the M.2 SSD storage expansion for PlayStation 5. The timing has not been announced and details will be shared later, end quote. So why this is important is because the person that wrote this Bloomberg article got reports from people that work at PlayStation that this is coming this summer, but PlayStation themselves are not saying anything officially on that front yet. Okay?
Gotcha.
And there's just last point here, and then we can chat about it. Basically, that there's a rumor that this unlocking whatever is going to add support for additional drives, which you can put inside, which will also enable, a firmware update will also enable unlocking higher cooling fan speeds to help offset the additional heat produced by putting in another storage slot or another storage device inside of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. So Josh, I read that the reason that this was not enabled at launch was because they had to check and make sure what drives were compatible, right? They couldn't just say, put any drive in there and then have a bunch of people with their PlayStations exploding, basically. Mm-hmm. So it goes hand in hand with this cooling fan speed update, because depending on the drive that you insert, the fan will need to spin at a higher rate. You know what I mean? To compensate for that drive.
Right.
So I think it all has to do with that. They were just basically finding out which ones work best, which ones work at all. And also, Josh, it would be bad PR if they let you put any HD or SD, solid state drive, SSD, I should say, in your PS5, and it causes the fan to sound like a fucking jet engine, right? They don't want that. They don't want PS5s out there with jet engine fucking fans, because that's a bad look. Everyone knows that the PlayStation 4 got loud. The fans were loud, especially as the generation went on, right?
Every iteration of it, yeah.
So it got a little better with the PS4 Pro, and then the PS4 Pros would get older. So that's just the nature of the beast, right? That's just how it is. So I don't think that they wanted at launch all these people with these brand new consoles that are supposed to be silent with new SSDs attached to them that just sound like fucking planes taking off, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Here's my thing though, Brett. And I get that, and I totally understand. But playing devil's advocate here, I don't think you should launch a console with internal storage upgrades and have the feature not work. I don't think it should be there and not work. Here's the thing. Xbox released it, right? They released a proprietary expansion, right, for it that you could buy from them. It's not great, right? You don't have a ton of options for it. It's, their own first-party thing.
It's expensive.
It is expensive. I think PlayStation should have at the very least done that and been like, we have this feature, right? We know it's going to be an issue because 667 gigabytes is fucking a steaming pile of crap for storage now. It's not functional. It's not functional. They should have at least had something proprietary first party and be like, hey, if you want to upgrade your storage, here's something for whatever, $120. Yeah, it's expensive, but at least it works. And, in the future, we will get stuff that is rated to work with this just so everything works out, right? To me, as a consumer, I find it kind of bullshit that I have this thing inside of a console that I bought that I can't use yet for an issue that Sony knew was going to be an issue. Like, to me, that is, I don't want to rationalize that because to me, from a consumer standpoint, it's like not rational. I don't agree with it. I think it's terrible. And I think PlayStation has a track record of having these things that their products are capable of that they lock you out of until way after. And if that was the thing, if they were like, well, this is not going to work at launch, well, maybe you wait until then it's going to fucking work before you release the console. I don't know.
I get your point. I see it. I think that would have been a smart move to have enabled or given consumers an option at least to expand their storage, even if it was a temporary solution. Even if it was just one type of drive that worked that you could put in there,
Exactly, because currently it's just nothing.
Yeah. And as consumers, we're kind of just stuck. We're just like, what can we do?
Right.
And I want to play, not devil's advocate here, but I want to play to a different side, Josh, that there's people that are like, well, why do you need 1 million games installed on your console at once? Well, here's the answer, okay? Download speeds in certain parts of the United States are not great. So having to download a full game every time you want to play it, is a little inconvenient. So, for me, I'm in a pretty populated area, and it could still take a couple hours just to download a game. So would it be much more easier just would it be easier if I just had everything installed on my console and I could just play them whenever I want? Yeah. And it's my fucking console. I can do whatever I want with it, right? If I want to load it up with games, who cares?
Okay, so why do people need hundreds of thousands of physical games then at once? Just go out and buy it whenever you want to play it and then return it to the store when you don't. Shut the fuck up.
There's a monetary thing there, though, Josh.
Whatever. It's a bullshit argument. In my opinion, there's no way to explain this away. I think PlayStation fucked the duck on this one, and I think it's bullshit. And I think the fact that we have to wait 6 months after launch, 8 months probably more like, is dumb. So
I'm with you. It's silly.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Josh and Brett really need you too. I love them. So do it. It would be a shame if you miss more of their videos. Hit the notification bell too, so you know when there is a new upload.